Thanks for checking out another clip of the Cashflow Contractor. We'd love to have you as a part of our audience. Click subscribe wherever you get your podcast.
Chicken versus egg. Do you focus on just bringing in more people first? Or do you focus on, no, let's make sure we have like systems for managing our people, for, investing in them and being intentional? Which one comes first?
This isn't going to be the popular answer, but we do not have a labor shortage in the trades. We don't. There are enough people out there that want to do this work. What we have are two things. We have a retention problem, a big one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We can't keep people long-term. And we have a lack of training problem. Everybody only wants to hire the seasoned guy with 5 years experience that somebody else trained. But if we actually all took it on to train our people, we would create this endless funnel of people that want to do this work. You see, the retention problem is the big issue. We turn people all the time. They make one mistake, we fire them. They have 90% of the skills that we need, but the 10% they don't have, so we fire them, or we make their life so uncomfortable they leave. Instead of thinking, hey, if I just train that 10%, I'd have the guy I needed. But we don't have time for that. We don't want to make time for that. We think that it's easier to keep putting out the fires than it is to take the time to train the guy or to invest in the guy. I ask teams all the time, why is it we always have time to do it over, but we never have the time to do it right?
Yeah.
And the reality is, when you focus on retention, you focus on building your people up, creating a great team that can deliver every time flawlessly, and they know that they're valued, they're not going to leave you. And then all of a sudden, you're not going to have this revolving door where you're always looking for that next big tech, that next great tech.
Right.
Plus, you'll increase productivity. People that are happy do better in their jobs. They produce more. And, if you're struggling with productivity, it's probably because your people aren't happy. So if you put your focus there, here's the other cool thing. When you put your focus there, guess what you're doing? You're creating the system that delivers on the promise you made when you hire the next guy.
Exactly. Yeah. It only compounds and becomes like a flywheel. If you create a place that people want to work, and then people want to work there and start showing up, then it makes you want to create a better place that people want to work, and it just keeps going and going.
It's just like this vicious cycle of awesome results is what it is.
Well, and then you flip that. You have a place that people don't want to work, and now you've got people coming in the door nonstop, and you're spending so much time feeding the funnel of hiring people that you don't even invest into making a place that people want to work. And so then you create a vicious cycle of just a terrible place to work. So it goes in both ways.
We have a remodeling contractor we worked with there up in Kansas, and they worked with us years ago. And at the time, they were just, not everything that we do is the popular idea. And that's why it works, because what we do is so different. And in marketing, different works. Yeah. And I remember them just not kicking and screaming like some of our clients, but just like, I don't want to do this. This isn't going to work. It's not, I'm just stick with the system. Just stick with the system.
Yeah.
And finally we wrap up, they graduate, and they're still struggling. They're still struggling to fill positions. About 2.5 years later, they call me and they said, we stuck with it. I had no idea that this would actually happen. They go, we do not post jobs anymore. And we have more resumes of qualified people that we've already vetted that want to join our team, that are waiting in line to join our team, that we just get to focus on growth now. And every time we sell more jobs and we do more work, all of a sudden we call up the next guy and he joins our team, and he's excited to be there because we stuck with the program. We got the systems in place, and we're vetting these guys early, nurturing them long-term. And so now recruiting isn't a conversation they have anymore. It's, how do we grow? How do we grow? How do we grow? They don't have to worry about people anymore.
Yeah.
And it just, it's a shift in the business, and it feels so different, but people love it.
Yeah. You had mentioned something about, we always have time to go back to the job, but not, what can you say the quote again?
We always have time to do it over,
but
we never have time to do it right.
Well, and I wanted to kind of pinpoint that, because we can't talk about hiring and recruiting in a silo. It's a component of a overall business, and there has to be balance in it. And I think the main reason we always make time to do it over rather than making time to do it right is because for a lot of people, they're probably pricing jobs incorrectly. They aren't giving an adequate scope of work on the jobs. And so it creates this cycle of you having to go and win the new job to be able to fund the job that you're finishing up. And
Absolutely.
it's all of these issues that, hey, yeah, you want to go and build a great team. You should absolutely go do that. You want to build an employer brand that has great promises for people that work with you. Those are great aspirations and things that you are worth doing. But make sure you're balanced in your business and don't just, I think that's probably where a lot of the people are saying, oh, you can't find good people anymore. Or there's not enough people in the trades. It's like, no, there's not enough companies that are worth working at in the trades because they're stressed out, they're underpriced, all those kinds of things. Yeah.
Bingo. And that's the thing. So one of the things that we look at, I mentioned employer of choice earlier. And I have a real simple definition. You're the employer of choice when you're the place that people want to work and you're the place where people want to stay. Like they'll fight to stay there. You're the employer of choice. They choose you. That's what we're saying. They choose you before they're an employee. They choose you after they're an employee. That's all we want. But one of the things that's really critical, and I get pushback on this one all the time, is that they are an industry leader in growth and reputation. And so the reputation, people usually like, oh, I get that. I got to have a good reputation, a good brand. People have to know I have good reviews, that kind of stuff. But then they push back on the growth. And they're like, why do I have to be an industry leader in growth? And I go, I'm not saying you have to be, 300% a year, but if your industry's growing at 12%, you need to be at 15 or 20. Because you know what? Nobody wants to join a company that's dying.
Right. Or stagnant.
Nobody sits there and says, you know what? I'm going to go work for this guy until he's bankrupt or he lays me off because he doesn't have enough work. That's not what people want. They want to join a team and they're going to want to stay when they know that you're growing and growing at a healthy pace, which means you're outpacing the industry average. And then all of a sudden, they're not worried about it. So to your point about the business has to be healthy, the business has to be working, the business has to be, you have to be pricing jobs correctly. You can't borrow from Peter to pay Paul so that you can fund your guys. Your guys know this. They know that you're struggling. They know that you're not pricing the jobs right. They're feeling it because they're feeling the pressure from you to get the job done faster.
Right.
And nobody wants to stay on that team.
No, I think we don't give employees enough credit a lot of times for how smart they are and intuitive, and they know what's going on. They may not know the details of they think that whenever you bid the job at $1 million that you're rich and you're wealthy. Maybe they have that perspective. Maybe they don't.
They do think that,
but they have a sixth sense of hey, things are going well at the company or things aren't. Boss is stressed. Boss isn't stressed. We're doing shady things. We're not doing shady. They know, right? People have that alarm inside of them.
I tell it like this. So. It's like children. When mom and dad are fighting, they always want to do it behind the closed doors so the kids don't know the kids know mom and dad are fighting. They're not dumb.
Yeah.
It's the same thing here. Your people know when there's a problem. They know when there's not a problem. They see you working crazy hours and stress, like you said, or they see you spending a little bit more time taking some vacation and coming in late and just enjoying things. And everything just seems to run more smoothly. They know.
They know. Yeah, for sure. Okay, so I want to dive into this a little bit more. One of the things that we talked about in our last call was how people are measuring hours a lot of time as a way of tracking their employees and, making sure that things are getting done. But you talked about measuring behaviors, not hours. Maybe share a little bit about that approach and how you came with that mindset.
Yeah. So productivity comes from two places, and that's what we're talking about. Are they productive? Because productive employees are profitable employees, and we want to make a profit on all of our employees. Otherwise, why aren't we just doing the work? So we have to look at productivity, but productivity comes in two ways. Number one is, am I swinging the hammer fast enough? Am I not denting things fast enough? Am I doing the job that you pay me to do fast enough and quality and all of that? But what comes beyond that is the behavioral side of things. And we tend to overlook this in the trades, is that I stand in front of rooms of people and I say, hey, just throw out what makes a great employee. What makes a great employee? You know what nobody has ever said? Someone that can run my CRM, someone that knows how to close a ticket, someone that knows. They never say that. What they say is, I want someone that greets the customer with a smile. I want someone that cleans up the job site. I want someone deserving of a 5-star review. I want someone that shows up a little early to do that little extra. That's how every single contractor I've ever talked to has described a great employee.
Yeah.
Well, those things have nothing to do with their skills. It's everything to do with behavior. So not only should we be assessing that in the interview process and making sure we're hiring people that have those right behaviors, but we need to have a way to track and measure the behaviors inside of the organization.
Thanks for checking out a clip from the Cashflow Contractor. We have full episodes where we go deep